Welcome to Alternatify, the channel where we twist the threads of history to explore the most colossal what-ifs. Today we confront a question that reshapes the very foundations of our modern world. What if the British Empire, instead of gradually receding, had somehow unified into a single indomitable superstate? Imagine a world where the sun truly never set on a singular, cohesive political entity. This isn't just about a larger Britain, it's about a unified global power. We're diving deep into a speculative history where the empire evolved rather than dissolved. Our journey will explore the profound ripple effects across technology, culture, politics, and the daily lives of billions. Would such a superstate have been a beacon of progress, a dystopian nightmare, or an incredibly complex tapestry of both? The answers might surprise you. At its zenith, the British Empire was an unparalleled global force. It spanned a quarter of the Earth's landmass and governed a quarter of its population, a truly diverse collection of peoples and cultures. From the vast plains of India to the rugged outback of Australia, its reach was immense. Yet this colossal entity was not immune to the forces of change. Economic strains, the rising tide of nationalism, and the sheer logistical nightmare of governing such disparate territories all contributed to its eventual decline. The two world wars in particular accelerated this process, draining resources and fostering independence movements. But what if, in the crucible of post-World War II chaos, a visionary leader or a powerful coalition emerged? What if they recognized that the only way to preserve the empire's influence was through radical unification? This is our hypothetical catalyst. We envision the birth of a united Commonwealth, a single political entity. This superstate would boast a shared parliament, a common currency, and a unified military, transcending the traditional colonial model. It would be a true global federation. Crucially, this unification wouldn't be a simple annexation. It would necessitate immense compromise, intricate negotiation, and genuine power sharing. Representatives from India, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, and the United Kingdom would have to forge a new, shared destiny. The economic implications of such a superstate would be staggering. Imagine a single market spanning continents, facilitating unprecedented growth through free trade and combined resources. Oil from the Middle East, minerals from Africa, manufacturing from India, and finance from London would all flow within one system. Militarily, the United Commonwealth would be virtually untouchable. Its combined naval, air, and ground forces would represent an overwhelming global power. This dominance could have fundamentally altered the trajectory of the Cold War, perhaps even preventing it entirely. Culturally, the fusion would be extraordinary. A vibrant, multicultural society would emerge, where shared ideas, art, music, and traditions intermingled on an unprecedented scale. This could lead to a global cultural renaissance, drawing from every corner of the empire. However, the challenges would be equally immense. Governing such a vast and diverse population, with its myriad languages, religions, and cultural practices, would be a logistical nightmare. Maintaining cohesion across such distances would test any administrative system. Representation and power distribution would be a constant source of tension. How would equitable power be ensured when the historical core, the United Kingdom, might still exert disproportionate influence? The spectre of old colonial hierarchies would loom large. Nationalist movements, far from disappearing, might simply be suppressed, fueling deep-seated resentment. This could lead to internal conflicts and a constant struggle for autonomy within the unified structure. The dream of self-determination would not easily fade. There's also the inherent risk of authoritarianism. A superstate with such immense power, centralized control, and global reach could easily abuse its authority. Suppressing dissent and controlling information would become tempting tools for maintaining order. In the realm of technology, the United Commonwealth could accelerate breakthroughs at an astonishing pace. Combined talent and resources would drive innovation in renewable energy, space exploration, and medical science. Imagine a global scientific effort focused on humanity's greatest challenges. Yet, this technological prowess would have a darker side. Advanced surveillance capabilities could be deployed across the entire superstate, eroding individual privacy. The development of devastating weaponry would also be a constant threat, given the immense resources available. Culturally, we might witness a global renaissance, a true fusion of literature, philosophy, music, and art from every continent. This cross-pollination could lead to entirely new forms of expression and understanding. It would be a vibrant, ever-evolving tapestry. Conversely, this could also lead to cultural homogenization. The dominant narratives and practices of the core might overshadow unique local identities, leading to their gradual erosion. The rich diversity of human expression could be flattened under a unified cultural banner. Politically, the global balance of power would be irrevocably altered. The United States would face a formidable rival, leading to a very different geopolitical landscape. The superstate would wield immense influence over international organizations, shaping global policy. However, this immense political power could also be used to suppress dissent on a global scale. Maintaining dominance might come at the cost of individual freedoms and democratic principles. The superstate's internal politics would be a constant struggle between unity and liberty. For individual lives, the promise of greater opportunities would be significant. Access to education, advanced healthcare, and economic advancement could improve living standards for billions. A unified system could provide a safety net and pathways to prosperity. But this would likely be accompanied by perpetuated inequality. The benefits might not reach everyone equally, and social mobility could remain limited for vast segments of the population. The legacy of colonial exploitation might simply transform into a new form of systemic disadvantage. In this alternate reality, the United States would face a formidable rival from its inception. The Cold War, if it even occurred, would be a triangular struggle, or perhaps a hot war would have erupted between these two titans. Global spheres of influence would be drastically different. Europe, as we know it, might never have formed the European Union. Fragmented or aligned differently, its political and economic landscape would be unrecognizable. The gravitational pull of the United Commonwealth would reshape continental alliances. Africa would remain under the direct control of the empire, leading to a vastly different developmental path. While there might be increased investment and infrastructure, the exploitation of resources would likely continue, albeit under a new guise. The colonial legacy would be far more entrenched and complex. India, instead of gaining independence, would remain a key, integral part of the empire. Its economic development would be intertwined with the superstate, potentially bringing benefits, but also enduring tensions. The legacy of British rule would be a permanent fixture of its identity. Australia and Canada, already closely tied, would be even more deeply integrated into the superstate. While they might benefit from the collective power and resources, it would come at the cost of their full autonomy and distinct national identities. Their development would be inextricably linked to the Commonwealth. English would undoubtedly become the pervasive global lingua franca, spoken and understood across the entire superstate. This would foster a unique fusion of traditions, creating a truly global culture. However, this could also lead to the suppression of local languages and the homogenization of diverse cultural expressions. Standardized systems would be implemented across the vast territory. Education, likely with a British focus, would be universal. Common law would govern legal systems, and quality healthcare access could become a global standard. These systems would bring order and efficiency. Yet, these standardized systems could also be abused. They might perpetuate inequality, suppress local customs, and become tools for control. The promise of universal access could mask systemic biases and limitations for marginalized communities. The globalized economy of the United Commonwealth would facilitate free trade and investment on an unprecedented scale. This unified approach could also lead to more effective strategies for addressing climate change and other global challenges. However, this economic engine could also lead to intensified resource exploitation, accelerating scarcity and environmental degradation. Competition for resources, even within the superstate, could still spark conflicts and exacerbate existing tensions. The political and social landscape would be defined by the empire's dominance, promising stability and order. This centralized authority could prevent smaller conflicts and maintain a degree of peace. But this stability would likely come at a cost. Authoritarian tendencies, limited freedoms, and intolerance for dissenting views could become hallmarks of the superstate. The marginalization of minorities and the suppression of individual liberties would be a constant threat. The legacy of such a unified British superstate would be incredibly complex and multifaceted. It would be a story of undeniable progress in some areas, yet also profound oppression in others. A narrative of unity and division, constantly debated and reinterpreted for centuries. This hypothetical future serves as a powerful reminder that history is not predetermined. Our present choices, both individually and collectively, shape the world we inhabit. The echoes of past empires, even those that never fully materialized, continue to influence our understanding of power, identity, and global governance. So we've journeyed through a world where the British Empire never fell, but instead transformed into a unified superstate. We've seen the potential for unprecedented economic growth, military dominance, and cultural fusion. But we've also confronted the profound challenges of logistical nightmares, suppressed nationalism, and the ever-present risk of authoritarianism. What are your thoughts on this alternate reality? Would you have thrived in such a superstate, or would you have fought against its very existence? Let us know in the comments below what you think would be the greatest benefits and the most profound drawbacks. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Alternatify for more thought-provoking scenarios, and suggest other historical what-ifs you'd like us to explore.